into Jonathan Coachman and Max Bretos. I'm Molly Karam, and you guys can catch them every day, SportsCenter at night. They're also on ESPN Radio together. Max, you guys spend a lot of time together.
We do. We do.
Too much.
But, you know, Molly, before I let you get started,
sure,
we don't spend all of our time together.
Okay.
So I want to do a little bonus one word right from the jump.
Go for it.
You know, yesterday Max was bragging about going to a Guns N' Roses concert. Yeah, he's like, yeah, I'm going to be heading up to Foxborough Stadium. Yeah. Well, apparently, the photography police,
brother,
they were along for the ride. So here is our esteemed colleague.
Wow.
Apparently, riding with Todd Grisham to Guns N' Roses shirtless.
Shirtless.
What is that?
There's a very good explanation for this.
Really?
And I'll explain it. As he picked me up, because it's a 2-hour drive to Gillette Stadium. It's actually longer than that when you get up there. So I was at the house. I got in after everything, and he picked me up, and I go, you know, I had to drop my mom off at the airport very early that day.
A lot of details, man. A lot of details.
I needed to go for a jog.
A lot of explaining happening right now.
I needed to go for a jog to get the blood pumping. So when he picked me up, I was sweating, so I had the shirt off. Shirt went on, obviously, a little bit later.
That's going to live forever, by the way. You're welcome.
I saw the twinkle in your eyes, too. I'm not sure what that was about, but I did.
It was the encore where they played Paradise City. It was really good.
Did you have fun?
It was good, and I will say this about when I see artists like Guns N' Roses, you know, that are, you know, they've had their time. You always look at their body language like they're let's just go through the motions. They didn't go through the motions. They performed, and you could almost see like they had to be pulled off stage. So it was a really good show. Glad I went.
Good. I'm glad you had fun.
Just with a shirt next time.
Yeah, I'm
please,
glad you found your shirt.
Please.
Are you going to be able to get through the show?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah, you ready?
I'm sorry I had to do that, but
I knew it. This is how we spend too much time together, Molly. As soon as he interrupted, I knew.
You knew it was coming?
Todd texted him that photo. I go, the photo's coming. I knew for a fact.
We love it.
All right, here we go.
I'm glad you have fun, and you're still here to take care of your job. So let's get into it. Coming up today, we have our Big 12 Coaches Tour coming through. Charlie Strong, Bob Stoops, Gary Patterson, and new Baylor head coach Jim Grobe. So you don't want to miss that. But up first, before making his decision to go to the Warriors, Kevin Durant met with 6 teams, including the Celtics, and admitted on Monday that the Patriots quarterback Tom Brady almost got him to go to Boston. Here's the quote. I was ready to just say, all right, let's go. I'm ready to go. Seeing Tom Brady there, seeing someone so successful at his craft, just a great ambassador for the game of football in the city of Boston. It was great to be in the presence of greatness. But at the same time, I knew I couldn't let that distract me. But he was great. It was great to see him. Coach, what does this say about Kevin Durant?
Well, it tells me a couple of different things. That he is starting to get back into being the Kevin Durant who, in a lot of instances, doesn't really watch what he says. It's not calculated, so he'll give away information that maybe, in hindsight, he doesn't want to give. It also says that even stars like a megawatt star like Kevin Durant can be influenced by other stars. When Tom Brady walks in the room, anybody would be like, wow, there's Tom, where's Giselle? Now, he didn't mention that in the quote, but that's probably what he was saying.
I'd be more excited to see her, let's be honest.
And I would be with you.
You never get to see her, so it's like, oh.
But this is the first time that we've gotten a glimpse into the psyche of Kevin Durant, where he actually admitted that there were more people in the room, so to speak, than just the Golden State Warriors and the Oklahoma City Thunder. And this also, to me, shows the importance, no matter how big of a star that you are, of bringing people to the table that matter. Golden State did it. And let's not forget, this was July 4th weekend. It wasn't like it was a random weekend in August. It was July 4th weekend, and you got all of these stars, including Tom Brady, to come there. Now, when he looked at Tom Brady when he walked in and said,
who are you?
I'm going to come to Boston because of him. It also shows me that he can be persuaded very, very easily as well. Because he said all the time that it was a basketball decision. And at the very end of the quote you just read, he said, but I couldn't let that distract me from what the real job was. Well, it sounds like it distracted him more than he is letting on. And for me, that would be an issue, and that speaks to the decision to go to Golden State. Because you got 5 stars in the room, like Golden State had if you include the head coach and the GM, then that's very, very persuasive, as opposed to what Oklahoma City had, which was just, from what I understand, a head coach and a GM.
Toby Keith coming in.
Yeah. That's a good call.
we were working, I think persuasive is a very, if we had to pick one word, it's the one word to choose here. We were hosting Mike and Mike the day that he made his decision. Sure. It came around noon Eastern time. So we were going on there. I woke up that morning and I said, based on all the information I'm getting, he's going to be a member of the Oklahoma City Thunder. As we started working on that show, it became obvious that he was going to become a Golden State Warrior. We talked to Chris Broussard. We talked to everyone involved. It seemed like the obvious thing to happen. When we were hosting Mike and Mike, we had that discussion. Is this counterproductive for these guys to bring in the heavy hitters, to bring him into his franchise? Because we were saying maybe there's a lot of appeal for Oklahoma City because he would be the big fish in the smaller pond. He is the guy in Oklahoma City. In Boston, you have Tom Brady. You have David Ortiz. You have a lot of people soaking it all up in the sports landscape other than Kevin Durant. He'll obviously be a big star there. But based on his decision, going to Golden State and becoming part of a collaborative affair with that team, maybe, or not maybe, he definitely doesn't want to be part of that. He wants to be part of a team. Maybe he is relinquishing be the star power. So I really buy this, that Tom Brady could have lured him over to being a Boston Celtic because that is, the persuasion is a big factor in what he did because of what he did with the Golden State Warriors. You cannot bring a bigger star in sports than Tom Brady.
That's it.
You can't.
That's it.
A-list.
He's the A-list of A-list.
That currently plays.
He's one guy.
Jeter.
I don't know.
I think Jeter's in my opinion, Jeter's bigger than Brady. Yeah. Sorry, I don't want to get off topic. Or
this is part of the topic.
Or a Michael Jordan than Tom Brady. Yeah.
Michael, if someone walked in right now, the starstruck power, we see athletes all the time here. If you saw Tom Brady, you would stop. I think Michael Jordan's another guy there, being 6'6" helps, but there's very few guys who will just stop, and I think Tom Brady is at the top of that list.
Now, if we're talking specifically to Kevin Durant, who's probably met Michael Jordan a time or two, let's say specifically to Kevin Durant, is there a bigger star than Tom Brady? They could walk in the room for him, not for us, but for him.
I guess it depends on what era in terms of when you grew up. So obviously Tom Brady for him, and what sports you're a fan of besides, of course, basketball. So clearly he's a big football fan. I don't know if you're a big baseball fan. You don't think Jeter at all?
I've always thought Jeter had this cool factor that was very kind of under the radar. That when he walked into the room, he can be the star, but he can also kind of blend in as well. What
about Peyton Manning?
I don't think he has that swagger either.
I think he does. I think he does.
You think if Peyton Manning walked in the room?
Peyton Manning would stop me just as much as Tom Brady would.
Tom Brady checks so many boxes.
Yeah, but you're a guy. You're thinking like, oh, the beautiful wife, the mom. Yeah,
that's part of it. That's part of it. But I think that's why you bring Tom Brady in. Who would be the guy if you came in, if you wanted to be lured over by ESPN? If you were in a contract, they brought in Chris Berman.
Well,
they said, you coach, you belong at ESPN.
Well, I mean,
would it work?
Who could they walk in to get me to stay at ESPN if the time came where I was choosing to leave, which would never happen because I'm a lifer.
I know, you're locked in.
30 years. I'm an
Sign
ESPN
that contract.
guy.
It'd be Stephen A. Smith. Yeah. Stephen A.
I should have said that.
That's all it takes for me.
There are. I mean, there's. To me, it's like saying there's a number for everybody. You know, there is somebody that when you walk in the room, because it becomes, do you want to make a lot of money no matter what you do? Of course, we all do. But there comes a time where you stop thinking about the last 3 days, we're not getting paid to do this on top of SportsCenter. But it's been a hell of a lot of fun to do. So at some point, it has to be about the experience. So for Kevin Durant, what's the experience he would have had if he would have agreed and then had to answer the questions, well, I came to Boston because Tom Brady was in the room in the Hamptons.
And that's what worries me about this decision. Because LeBron James, who do they bring in for Cleveland? Chrissy Hynde of the Pretenders, someone from Cleveland? I don't know. He came to play basketball. That's the only person from Cleveland I know. I think she's from Akron as well. But you come in there and goes, this is a decision about basketball. I don't care who comes through that door. This is a basketball decision. And I don't know if this is partially lip service from Kevin Durant, but I don't care who comes through that door. I'm coming here to play basketball. Who you bring in? Oh, the Golden State Warriors. That's a basketball decision. But if you want to be LeBron James, who goes to Cleveland and says, I'm coming back, it doesn't matter who's on that team. It's about me. I'm going to win it here. And this plays back into the whole factor with Kevin Durant not being Kevin Durant, not being that alpha male.
My biggest takeaway from this, and maybe this is the businesswoman in me, If I'm reading these quotes and I'm seeing Kevin Durant, and I want to put this in perspective here. So ESPN did a World Fame release out this spring, top 100. Kevin Durant was 6th. Tom Brady was 52nd. Now, this is worldwide. We know the NBA is more of an international sport, and we know the NFL is king right here. But I'm saying to myself, this guy could get caught up with Tom Brady here. When I'm going into that negotiating room and I'm at that table and I can bring these heavy hitters in here, that can potentially influence these guys. That was my initial first thought. Like, that could help influence the decision of having another great sports star there in the meeting room. And then the other thing I thought too, and it's not to pile on Kevin Durant, but I'm like, gosh, is this guy unaware of how big of a deal he is? He can be kind of easily influenced by. That was really a deciding factor for you?
Molly, I think you hit the nail on the head with both factors. Is sometimes when we fault athletes for the ego being too big and thinking you're too big for whatever you're doing. I think Kevin Durant sometimes he shortchanges himself and he doesn't act the part, which I think also when you go full circle plays back to him not wanting to be the guy all the time and not staying in Oklahoma City. So there you go.
I think that's kind of the subtext here. When I get away from it, I go, that shouldn't be. He goes, I'm coming here. Oh, they just signed Al Horford. They're doing this. That's why I'm coming to this.
And not realizing he is actually the guy. So in an article in USA Today, Kevin Durant talked about the days after making that decision to go to the Warriors. Quote, I didn't leave my bed because I was like, man, if I walk outside, somebody might just try to hit me with their car or say anything negative to me. I just stayed in. I was trying to process it all. I wanted to be around family and positive support. It felt different. Coach, coming to you here. One word for Durant saying he didn't leave his bed after deciding to leave OKC for Golden State.
I have not been shocked at how one word has taken over the world the last 3 days.
The world.
Here
Such a franchise. Get that sponsor.
It really is. Yeah, any sponsors out there, give us a call.
By the way, you have a pencil neck in this thing. Look at that little thing. Me too. But
the goatee is always as tight. My one word is...
Crispy.
Oh, look at that. Look at that.
Crispy line.
Who is that, dude?
My
Jay
one
Glazer.
word is sensitive. Sensitive. Because I think we're seeing a very bright light into the inner sanctum, the inner soul of Kevin Durant, that he knew when he made this decision, he felt the weight of the world on him. When you compare, and the only other one to compare this to is the LeBron James, the decision. When LeBron James made that decision, he was on a plane that very night to land in South Beach. The cameras were out. He's hanging out with D. Wade, and he was leaving Cleveland, never to go back again. This is something that Kevin Durant, even though I think one thing we've overlooked is this is just a one-year deal. If things don't work out this season, he will be a free agent again next summer. So I think he realized, wait a second. Everything that we've talked about, I am the megawatt star from Oklahoma City, and I just decided that I'm going to go pile on to another franchise. Last night, I was listening to ESPN radio driving home from SportsCenter because we're doing SportsCenter at night in addition to the show. Who wouldn't? And
well, I was at GNR last night, so
well, yeah, that's right. I'm doing SportsCenter. So as I'm driving home, Ian Fitzsimmons is on the radio with Freddie Coleman, and they were calling people clowns. Guys like you and like me who said that Kevin Durant should not have done it. Anybody that said Kevin Durant couldn't make his own decision, there's clowns. There's a lot of clown going on out there. Well, guess what? Paint my face and give me a red nose because I'll continue to be a clown because this right here tells me that even Kevin Durant had second thoughts about how big this decision was, not just for himself, but for the NBA as a whole. That's how much he changes the perspective and he changes the narrative of big-time teams. And that, for me, when I read this, I was like, even Kevin Durant knows somewhere deep down in places he doesn't like to talk about, he knows it was a wrong decision, too.
Whoa, finishing strong there. I'm going to use your one word to make my one-word point. My one word, and I don't know, taking some artistic license here, is TMI. It's actually 3 words, but I put it all together.
It counts as one in my book.
It looks like one word on paper.
Yeah, TMI works.
And it gets to your word about being sensitive. Okay, this is going to shock you guys, and you're going to crush me when we go to commercial break. I'm a very sensitive human being. I wear my emotions on my sleeve. When I left my former employer to come here, because it was such a big decision, I sat at home and I cried. I cried because I was like, this is a...
I'm going to be quiet for now, but you're right.
It is a big decision.
It's a
life-changing. You're moving cross-country. You're moving your family, your relationships, of course.
Until this very moment, I have not shared that with anyone, but I got over it because I don't want to give that look out. I don't want to give that look because this is a tough job. And to do this, you got to be tough.
You down.
And to do in the NBA, you got to be tough. And when I hear him say that, this is a quote that is sweep it under the rug. This is water under the bridge. I understand it's a tough decision, but don't say it like that because it's not a good look for Kevin Durant. I say, look, I ain't going to say that. People know I've gone through from hell and high water in a lot of places, but I incubate it. I'll stay at home. I'll talk to my wife and I'll say it. I'll get emotional. But to say this when you come out, it's like this is you internalize. We know it was a tough decision. You're going to make people unhappy. There's no doubt about that. People in Oklahoma City, they're not going to run you over with a car, but they're very unhappy. I think deep down inside they understand it and they respect him for what they've done in Oklahoma City. There's a few people on outliers that'll be a little bit different. But I think when you say this, first of all, we know it. We know it's to be true. But I see that sensitive nature. And to be really good at the NBA, whether you're LeBron James, Michael Jordan, who are probably very sensitive people in their own right, you have to be a killer. You've got to sit that, and you've got to shut it down. He goes, I don't care. This is a business decision. This is about Kevin Durant. I'm going here to win. That's that.
You might be surprised.
I'm going to have a good cry after this.
But I am not going to crush you.
Are you going to cry
on this one. No,
right.
no. And I'm not going to crush you on this one either, because you're making a very good point for me and for all of us who think that Kevin Durant shouldn't have gone. You struggled with the thought of going to the greatest team in the world today, which was ESPN.
Moving your wife from L.A., who's from Los Angeles, to come to Bristol, Connecticut.
My wife from L.A. to, oh, your wife from L.A. Oh, got it. Okay, so you struggled with that.
6 years later, she still reminds me.
You were, with all due respect, not at the level that Kevin Durant is at in your career at the time. So nobody said to you, well, you're going from X to ESPN and piling on to the worldwide leader. So your cry, and you're sensitive, was because your life was going to change, but it was an exciting thing. Kevin Durant knew that he was not only going from the top A to A+, but that's what he should not do. And even though he wants to win a championship, that was, to me, the overriding theme in all of this. I don't think he truly, it was brimming inside of him to play with other guys and now become a 20-point scorer when you're one of the greatest scorers in the history of the NBA. I don't think it's going to be okay. Draymond Green said yesterday, hey, when you want to win, everything else will take care of itself. Okay, we'll see what happens when Kevin Durant only scores 20 a game as opposed to 28, because Steph needs his shots, Clay needs his shots, and Draymond Green needs his shots. I don't think it's going to be as nice as Kevin Durant thinks it's going to be. I might be wrong, but this speaks to that.
It is, in closing here, we hear all this about Kevin Durant, and it makes it sound like it was a very tough decision to make this.
Of course it is. It's life-changing.
But maybe, I think we see what happened. The decision was made early on. He wanted to, I mean, you don't just say that, okay, Tom Brady's been great, and maybe I should go to the Celtics. I love Oklahoma City. I can't leave these people here because they love me, and I'm a god here. I'm the biggest. I am a great white shark in a small pond here, and it feels good. I am the guy. But all that said, and he's fleshing it out here with all these comments, the decision, I think, was made. So I don't think any of this affected the fact that he wanted to be a Golden State Warrior. I'm
fine with him staying in his house. I'm with you here, and I don't even think the word's sensitive. I think he's introspective. I think he's thoughtful. I think he's a little more introverted, where people process things differently. So these type of decisions are mentally draining. So I think some people just want to take a time out, be by themselves, think through it, and not kind of deal with the society and block everything out. I know that's how I am. I'm not the person that's like calling my girlfriends. It's more similar to more of a male mentality, where you just kind of want to be alone and do your own thing and like clear your head, and then you go back out to the world. And I do truly believe fans are crazy. Safety is a real concern.
Absolutely. Do you think that's why? Because I was always, I know this is where he was taking his vacation, but weren't you surprised? It would have been a lot easier for everybody if he would have done those meetings in Oklahoma City. But he decided instead, this is where I plan to take my vacation. He knew for a year he was going to be a free agent. So you're going to plan to take your vacation in the Hamptons. Let's face it, the only easy way to get there is by private jet.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you fly to LaGuardia and then you sit in traffic.
Where was my invite?
Right? So do you think it was strategic? Because I believe it was, that he wanted to be as far away within the United States as possible.
Of course. Because he wants privacy.
I like the fact, too, that he's like, look, you come to me, you've got to be that that big dog. You've got to say, you come to me, this is how it's going to be. And people came, and they rolled out the red carpet.
Not everybody came.
Well,
not everybody
Tom Brady did, and the Golden State Warriors. Some people did it, and maybe it was a mistake.
You want to see how they court you if it's real.
Yeah.
Are they going to put in the effort? And
I have all these now. I have all these thoughts swimming around in my head.
He should have been the rock star. He goes, I want red M&Ms only in a jar.
I can't even focus. Just take some quiet time. Just shut your phone up, take some quiet time, and meditate. Get centered. Meditate like a
Don't cry.
It's
Don't
become
cry.
about me all of a sudden.
There's no crying on first take.
All right. Good.
All right. Somebody who's also maybe going through a tough time right now would be Tiger Woods. He has ruled himself out of the PGA Championship, marking the first time in his career that he's missed 4 consecutive majors and will not play in any event for the rest of the season. This will be the first year since '94 in which Woods did not play in a single major and hasn't won a major.